Hey, what's up everyone? Lucas here. In this video, I want to show you the project manager and walk you through how to use that in your projects in GeoPix 1.0. And the beauty of this system is that it lets you take files you pull in, an OBJ, a video clip, and use a relative prefix in GeoPix. So if you move your project folder later, all you have to do is relink that project folder, and everything else inside of that you've sourced should link up just fine without any changes. So without further ado, let's dive in and I'll show you how this works and where it's located. So first things first, when you have a blank scene and you install GeoPix for the first time, you're likely going to see a red icon appear in the top left. This is your project manager icon, so if you click on this, you'll be greeted with a screen, kind of this first step of this wizard here that says project config not found. And what this is looking for is a file on your computer, an app data that's basically going to hold your project information at a later date. So we can click check, refresh, nothing's here. We can open the directory, which is going to pull up an Explorer window, and you can go inside of Touch99 and you'll see that there's maybe a couple files depending on what else you've done in GeoPix, but the file we need is not in here. So the first step we need to do when we run this is say create new project config. Once we've done that, we get the green screen. You can check and it says yeah, it's here. If you open directory, you'll see this file exists and it's blank, and we'll get to why in a sec. So next step, you just click continue, and here we have project folder not found. And so what this is doing when you click check, it's essentially looking in that file and it's looking for a file path to a folder, and since there's nothing in that file, we need to actually choose a folder for our project. So I'll just click new project folder here, or choose project folder, and I'm going to go and pick a folder on my computer that's already been set up. It's just empty, so it's test. So this is an empty folder on a different drive, drive E. So I'll click on select folder. And once you've done that, you're good to go. So if you click check, you're good. We set and continue, and then the next screen, screen 3, actually gives you the opportunity to take some of the sample content that comes with GeoPix, some of the folders, files, images, videos, OBJs, and copy that over your project directory kind of in one go. This is useful if you want the sample content, if you're going to be using it. This sample content will probably grow in time, so this may become a larger kind of library of things, but for right now it's just a few files, so feel free to leave them if you don't. You can always just click continue and keep going, but just to show you, I'll go and click copy folder structure and starter data. Once I've done that, you'll see that it actually shows up in test. It's been copied. So that's great. Once we've done that, then we can click continue. And this last screen is essentially showing you all of the objects in GeoPix and what their file paths look like. So these are the default things in GeoPix. You have a few folders that you're defining as a place you want to pull things from. These aren't too relevant, but let's go and close this project manager now that it's been set up. And by the way, the icon will turn green when you finish all the steps. Let's just bring in a piece of geometry and let's load one from disk. So first let me go and load one from a folder that's outside of my project directory. So I have one here, and I'll just load character, and there it is. As usual, you'll notice over here on the right in the attribute editor, the file path is just an absolute file path. It's pretty much how it's been so far, and this is pretty standard. This is fine, and you can work this way if you'd like, but if you move this project to a different computer or if you change the folder, this is going to basically break, and you're going to have to go back in and relink stuff or do a find replace in the JSON saves, something probably a little bit tedious. So that's where the project folder system comes into play. Let me go and delete this, and let's go ahead and load a new geometry, and this time I'm going to load it from the project folder that we set up. So go to E, test, and then I'll go to examples, and I'll choose the very same character that I copied from the install folder. And once I've loaded that, you'll see over here that the path actually has a new prefix, gp://, and that is essentially representing the project folder directory, whatever that is. So if you move this project directory later, all you have to do is go back to the wizard and resync a new folder where these files exist in the same kind of hierarchy and structure, then you're good to go. So let me show you one other thing too that's really useful. If I load a file, let's go back to the one I had off of the C drive. assets, examples. So I'm going to pull the character back in. So we have this absolute path, right? So if we pull up our project manager and we just go through to the very end, this area right here, this is a tool that lets you copy things over to your new project. So I showed you this before and we just kind of glossed over this, but we have a new row here, which is the thing we just made, this object here. As you can see, it's yellow because it's recognizing the fact that this is not a project directory, it's a just a plain old regular directory. So this button down here, copy external files to project folder and relink, is essentially an automation tool that when you click it, it's going to copy the file over to your project, and as you can see here, character got copied, and since it doesn't have a destination, it just puts it in the root. And then once it's done that, it relinks the files in GeoPix, and it's all taken care of in one step. So this is a good tool to use when you have a project that you do want to move and you've already started using files from other folders. Beware, it can take a lot of time to copy if you have lots of heavy video clips or HAPQ format things, stuff like that. But it's a good tool to have. You don't have to do it manually, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, so let me show you one last thing, and this is the process of maybe moving the project directory to another place. And I'm going to simulate that by opening the project. This is test, right? And I'll close this, come back to the window, and I'm going to name this to something different. I'll call this test 2. So once I've done that, I can open the project manager again, and I can check for config. That's fine, but you'll notice up here that the icon's red. So if we go to the next step, we see that the project folder that we've specified is no longer present. So we need to choose a new project folder. And so I'm going to do that just by going to E, test2, and then I'll select this folder. And once I've relinked that, everything's back to normal and fine. And now your files should work again. Let's just go and set and continue. And you'll see the icon turns green and you're good to go. So that's how you move a project to a new location and just relink it. So anyways, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know below or shoot me an email. Thanks. Bye.